Every NFL tight end from the all-time busts to first ballot Hall of Famers falls somewhere perfectly on one of these 7 levels. This system has stayed accurate through every era of football, and even though most don't make it past the middle rounds, those who make it to level 7 are remembered forever. But first, we need to start with level 1. For level 1, we're going to be talking about anyone taken in the first round. Anyone after can kind of be classified as a bust, but there's plenty to choose from here with first round busts, so we'll go with them. These are players who had every opportunity to succeed, but completely failed to live up to their draft position. So let's start with David LaFleur. The Dallas Cowboys drafted him with the 22nd overall pick in 1997, thinking they found their next great receiving threat at tight end. What they got instead was 4 years of complete mediocrity that wasted a premium draft pick. In his entire career, LaFleur manages 85 receptions for 729 yards across 60 games. That's unacceptable production for a first-round pick. His career high in a season was 35 catches for 322 yards in 1999. Then you have Brandon Pettigrew. The Lions took him with the 20th overall pick in 2009. While his numbers look decent on paper, 301 catches for 2,900 yards, context is everything. This was supposed to be their franchise tight end, their cornerstone of their passing attack, with Megatron and Matt Stafford at the helm. But Detroit got a player who had a couple decent seasons early on, but could never elevate his game beyond that level. By 2014, Pettigrew was barely getting targets, finishing with just 10 catches for 70 yards. The Lions were so ready to move on that they just let him walk after 2015. And we can't forget about O.J. Howard. Tampa Bay took him with the 19th overall pick in 2017, convinced they had found their dynamic receiving weapon for Jameis Winston. The 6'6" athletic freak was supposed to be unstoppable in the red zone and create mismatches all over the field. Instead, Howard gave them just 129 catches for a little bit over 1,800 yards over 6 seasons. That's barely 20 catches per year for a first-round tight end. His career was constantly derailed by injuries and inconsistency, and he bounced between Tampa Bay and Houston before eventually fading from relevance. You draft these players hoping they'll be the missing piece for your offense. Instead, you get years of disappointment and wasted roster spots while watching better players get selected after them. Level 2 tight ends are guys who were drafted really high and expected to be franchise cornerstones, but while they can't be classified as complete busts since they did more than the last group, they still left you wanting more. Let's start with Eric Ebron. The Detroit Lions made him the 10th overall pick in 2014, thinking they found their dynamic receiving threat. And to his credit, Ebron did have some solid seasons. He made a Pro Bowl in 2018 with Indianapolis when he caught 66 passes for 750 yards and 13 touchdowns. Ebron finished his career with 351 receptions for a little bit over 3,800 yards and 33 touchdowns over 8 seasons. Then you have Kellen Winslow II. Cleveland took him with the 6th overall pick in 2004. This guy really had some productive seasons. His 2007 Pro Bowl was really impressive with 82 catches for a little bit over 1,100 yards and 5 touchdowns. But injuries derailed what could have been a Hall of Fame career. He was also a complete psychopath. And we can't forget about Kyle Pitts. Atlanta took him with the 4th overall pick in 2021. The highest a tight end had been drafted in decades. His rookie season was spectacular with 68 catches for a little bit over 1,000 yards and a Pro Bowl selection. Everyone thought they were watching the next great tight end. But since then, Pitts has been incredibly inconsistent. With just 356 yards in 2022 and 667 yards in 2023, and through 2 games in 2025, he's got 11 catches for 96 yards. The talent is obviously there. You don't accidentally have a 1,000-yard rookie season. But for a player drafted 4th overall, the Falcons expected him to be the consistent game changer, not someone who disappears for stretches at a time. These level 2 guys all share the same story. They showed enough talent to prove they belonged in the NFL, but they never quite lived up to the massive expectations that came with their draft position. Level 3 tight ends are the backbones of the position. These guys are very dependable and good starters that you'd absolutely want on your team. What separates them from level 2 is reliability. These players show up every week and make the catches they're supposed to make and anchor solid offensive attacks for years at a time. Let's start with Frank Wycheck. This guy was the definition of a reliable starter for over a decade. 505 receptions for a little bit over 5,000 yards and 28 touchdowns across 11 seasons. Those are really solid numbers for a player who was never really supposed to be a superstar. Wycheck made 3 Pro Bowls during his peak years with Tennessee from 1998 to 2000. Then you have Dallas Goedert. This guy has been Philadelphia's steady presence at a tight end for years now, ever since they let Zach Ertz go. 356 receptions for a little bit over 4,000 yards and 24 touchdowns over 8 seasons, including being a key part of their Super Bowl championship team. Goddard's 2021 season was his best. 56 catches for 830 yards and 4 touchdowns. Nothing spectacular, but exactly what you want from a reliable starter. And we can't forget about TJ Hawkinson. This guy has been one of the most reliable tight ends in the league since entering in 2019. 386 receptions for a little bit over 4,000 yards and 23 touchdowns over 7 seasons with 2 Pro Bowl selections. Hawkinson's best stretch came in 2022 to 2023 when he was traded from Detroit to Minnesota. He put up 95 catches for 960 yards, showing he could be a true focal point of an offense when needed. Delaney Walker, Hunter Henry, Tyler Eifert, Dalton Kincaid are all here as well. These level 3 guys represent what most teams are actually looking for in a tight end. They're not going to be the best player on your offense, but they're going to be reliable contributors who make your team better every single week. The difference between level 3 and the level below is simple. These guys deliver on their potential and give you exactly what you expect from a quality NFL starter year after year. Level 4 tight ends are genuinely elite players with higher highs than level 3. They're just not quite on the Hall of Fame trajectory yet, but these guys are the focal points of their offenses and can single-handedly change games. Let's start with Sam Laporta. This guy burst onto the scene in 2023 with one of the greatest rookie tight end seasons ever. 86 catches for 889 yards and 10 touchdowns, earning him a Pro Bowl selection and All-Pro honors as a rookie. That's absolutely elite production. Then you have Trey McBride. This guy has quietly become one of the most productive tight ends in the league. That 2024 Pro Bowl season was absolutely impressive. 111 catches for a little bit over 1,100 yards and showing he can be a true focal point of an offense. Brock Bowers represents the future. His rookie 2024 season was historically great. 112 catches for 1,194 yards and 5 touchdowns, earning him All-Pro honors and setting rookie records for tight end production. His combination of size, speed, and route running ability makes him a matchup nightmare. The scary part about Bowers, he's just getting started. If he can maintain this level of production and stay healthy, he could easily move up to the next tier within a few seasons. You have guys like Heath Miller, Jared Cook, Julius Thomas, and Todd Heap from back in the day that are here too. Aaron Hernandez as well, who was probably higher, but nah. These level 4 guys are really, really good. They just haven't showcased all that level 5 has to put them in the Hall of Fame trajectory just yet. Level 5 is the most concentrated spot. So many Hall of very good tight ends. Not sure if they make it to the Hall of Fame, but there's a bunch of players that fit the mold here. So let's start with Mark Andrews. This guy has been Baltimore's offensive centerpiece for his entire career. 438 receptions for over 5,500 yards and 51 touchdowns across 8 seasons, with 3 Pro Bowl selections and 1 All-Pro honor. Andrews' peak from 2019 to 2021 was absolutely dominant. The 2021 All-Pro season was special, 107 catches for 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns. Then you have Jimmy Graham. This guy had one of the most dominant peaks in tight end history during his New Orleans years. 719 receptions for 8,500 yards and 89 touchdowns over 13 seasons, with 5 Pro Bowl selections and 1 All-Pro honor. Graham's 2011 to 2014 stretch was absolutely ridiculous. That 2013 All-Pro season was legendary, 86 catches for over 1,200 yards and 16 touchdowns. The frustrating part about Graham is that he was never quite able to have the same magic after leaving New Orleans. Jeremy Shockey represents the ceiling of this level. 547 receptions for over 6,100 yards and 37 touchdowns over 10 seasons, with 4 Pro Bowl selections and 1 All-Pro honors, plus 2 Super Bowl championships. Brent Selleck, Jay Novacek, Ben Coates, and guys like Greg Olsen are here too. These level 5 guys are really close to legendary status. They've sustained their excellence for significant portions of their career. But here's what separates them from the absolute elite. They're just missing that final piece, whether it's sustained peak performance, championship moments, or just a few more elite seasons that would have made them undeniable Hall of Fame locks, which is what we have next. Level 6 tight ends are Hall of Fame locks. These guys have put together complete dominant careers that make them undeniable to be Hall of Famers. So let's start with Antonio Gates. This guy completely revolutionized what a tight end can be. 955 receptions for 11,841 yards and 116 touchdowns over 16 seasons, with 8 Pro Bowl selections and 3 All-Pro honors. His peak from 04 to 09 was absolutely dominant. His 05 season with 89 catches for 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns was absolutely insane. Then you have Jason Witten. This guy was the definition of consistency and longevity. Over 1,200 receptions for 13,000 yards and 74 touchdowns over 17 seasons, with 11 Pro Bowl selections and 2 All-Pro honors. George Kittle has built his case for this level already. 542 receptions for over 7,400 yards and 46 touchdowns over 9 seasons, with 6 Pro Bowl selections and 2 All-Pro honors. Guys like Ozzie Newsome are here too. These level 6 guys are going to make the Hall of Fame if they haven't already. They've accomplished enough to be considered among the greatest tight ends in NFL history. They're just not the greatest tight ends in NFL history. Tight ends in level 7 are extremely rare and come by once in a generation possibly. I think there are only 5 players who have reached tight end mastery in the entire history of the NFL. Tony Gonzalez with the route running mastery and longevity that was just otherworldly. The man ran every route to perfection, could catch anything, and he finished with over 1,300 receptions for 15,000 yards and 111 touchdowns over 17 seasons. Shannon Sharpe with that freakish athleticism and ability to make the impossible look routine. 815 receptions for over 10,000 yards and 62 touchdowns, winning 3 Super Bowl championships in the process. Gronk is just Gronk, the most dominant tight end we've ever seen. Travis Kelce, with literally everything said above, he has the route running precision, the clutch gene, and the championship pedigree. Over 1,000 receptions for 12,000 yards and 78 touchdowns over 13 seasons. And finally, you have Kellen Winslow Sr., with the revolutionary impact that changed how the position was played forever. 541 receptions for over 6,700 yards and 45 touchdowns over 9 seasons. He was a prototype for the modern receiving tight end, showing that the position could be so much more than just a blocker who occasionally caught passes. Whenever you think about the best tight ends in history, these 5 guys are going to be the first ones mentioned. There wasn't anything that they couldn't do. And so there you have it, the 7 levels of NFL tight ends, from the first round busts to the masters who redefined what the position could be. Every tight end you've ever watched, every name you ever heard, fits somewhere on this spectrum. Whether we're talking about guys from the 1980s or guys playing today, the levels remain the same.